Hey everyone, he's back, and so am I. Hopefully greater than ever, but this is for my other channel, random comics from my spinner rack. And I always pick 5 because I usually spend about 4 minutes on each one. It comes out to a nice clean 20 minutes. And 20 minutes seems to be the time that my subscribers prefer. What's interesting is this book, a year prior, was Kirby's last book, and I think it was the last of his contract with Marvel in the mid-70s. So what happened was, in the meantime, Machine Man showed up in the Hulk, of all places. Bill Mantlo decided, hey, this is a pretty cool character. I'll have him meet and fight the Hulk. And it was a 3-issue story, and it was pretty good. And I think the sales must have warranted to do another ongoing, but they couldn't use Kirby. And I don't know how Ditko arrived at this. I think mostly in his career after the 60s, I think there were ones that people presented to him, and if he decided they were a good enough idea, that he would work on those series. That just seems, I can't see him going around saying, oh my god, Machine Man, I gotta do that. But I kind of dig it. It came out, and I was like, wow, all new, all different, using the verbiage that was in Giant-Sized X-Men #1. I love this little collage. Get them peepers going. Birth of the Superhero. And this takes place right after the Hulk fight, where Machine Man is near what a mechanical robot would call death, I guess. Marv Wolfman's a writer and editor. Steve Ditko's, he does pencils and inks. Tom Orzechowski, the legendary letterer. Ben Sean colors, great. Jim Shooter. It's a real, tight group of creators. Well, apparently, like I said, he's kind of worn out from fighting the Hulk, as anybody would. And I love that part where they lift the head up and they examine Machine Man's brain. And they kind of go back over it. There's his friend who is a psychologist who became a friend of Machine Man, sort of helped him come to terms with the fact that he wasn't a human, but he had human traits and interests and other stuff. So it wasn't played up as well as it should have been, but he was a good. This happened in, jumping back to 2000 AD, number 8 and 9 that Kirby had done, written and drawn, and those issues aren't going to get reprinted because those 2 issues are in the title 2001, after the Stanley Kubrick movie. And it basically retells, it catches everybody up on what's going on. And I love those Kirby eyes. Come on. There. Any second. I can wait all day. There. The Kirby eyes. But however, Ditko loses the Kirby eyes. He goes with standard red eyes. And I was very disappointed in that. But, what are you going to do? Only because that made him really stand out, Well, what happened was, in Kirby's 9-issue Machine Man run, plus the 2 issues of 2001, he made Machine Man sort of like he could do anything. He had, he would sneak away under bushes with tire treads on his forearms that were crawling away. Basically, whatever the story would call for, he would have some gadgets. So they depowered him sufficiently, and which made sense. Like I said, Kirby was just sort of making up these gimmicks of his of Machine Man's as he was going along. And I don't think, I guess he can still fly, but love that, stretching the old limbs. He's having himself a crisis of faith. And that was a pre-recorded message from his quote-unquote father who devised him. And there's this Senator Brickman, and he's just a real, he's worse than J. Jonah Jameson because he's a politician who can actually affect things. And the guy with the eye patch, he's someone who originally was trying to destroy Machine Man, but then he came around and he was defending him. So these two kind of go at it all the time. And I like the colors there. I just like when the colors stray for a panel too. That's beautiful stuff. Beautiful. That's a little house ad for Roger Stern writing some of the books by Ray Severin. Pretty cool stuff. Let's see. Okay. They get trapped. Machine Man's trying to rescue him, and every 2 seconds, Brickman's saying, oh, he's trying to kill us, So we're back to where we began. Are you still as blasted cocky as you were before Mr. Machine Man? Whoa! Well, anyway, he frees everybody. All these ads from these Bronze Age comics, he frees them all. Gets Brickman. And he's like, get your slimy steel tentacles away from me. I'll wait for the ladder to get lower. I picked up this issue and then the next issue, but it really, I lost interest in it because for some reason or other, Marv Wolfman decided that he would have a secret identity as Aaron Stack, which is the name his creator gave him. And he had him work in an insurance company, like doing insurance sales type stuff. And why? It's just awful. It was just a silly idea. I mean, why? Boy, that's really riveting stuff, those insurance salesmen, unless he's doing insurance on after some of the fights he gets into. But it just stunk. But then the last few issues, Tom DeFalco came in and rescued him and really gave him a great voice. It was almost back to what Kirby had done with giving him that dry humor. Okay, here we go. Spider-Man, Daredevil, ooh-wee. John Romita and Frank Giacoya. There you go. You can't go wrong there. That's a great pose. Love these two. And it's good old Sal Buscema, inked by Dave Hunt. I had an episode a while back where I think it was, the next issue with Black Widow where they fought the Silver Samurai who showed up. And Bill Mantlo wrote that as well. No. Claremont wrote the other one. But great stuff. I mean, Hunt is a great inker, real solid. He just kind of, he adds just enough beef to the figures, but he doesn't overdo it. And of course, you have it's Bronze Age stuff, so you have everybody thinking of stuff. And apparently, the David Lee Bugle is being held hostage by Blizzard and Electro, who puts his feet on the desk and smokes a cigar. And he brings in Jameson's rival from the Daily Globe. Shut up, both of you. This is a stick-up, not Saturday Night Live. So what happened was there was blackmail going on, and J. Jonah Jameson had the good idea of doing help black male, like the beginning of the first few letters. I thought that was pretty cool. It's still kind of cool. Oh, here comes Daredevil. Gotta dodge that Blizzard fella. And there's a lot of comedy to be had by these by J. Jonah Jameson and the other guy from the Globe, but it's really fun. It's kind of fun like the episode I did where Spider-Man and the Beast were fighting the Griffin. It's got some silly stuff, it's got some high stakes stuff, and but it's just plain fun. I'm not going to show you the rest. Okay. Now, Doom Patrol. I bought the first, year and a half before Grant Morrison came on, and it started really strong. They got really wobbly, and then just said, screw it. We'll give it to this crazy Scotsman who came up with some weird characters, like a really weird team, and like a woman with 72 personalities, and one of the characters was also called Danny the Street, and I don't know what he ever did, because I kind of lost interest. It got a little too, he did the Scissormen and all this other stuff. See, Danny Dreams, Danny the Street. But I never stuck around. I only got this because it had a Kirby-esque cover, and it's got a tribute. This came out about a year before Image did their 1963 tribute of classic Marvel from the early to mid-60s. Grant Morrison. Ken Stacy, he usually does painted comics. He does a lot of stuff in magazines and Jumpin' John Workman. I don't know who Dan Vazzo is, but, nice job. Very Kirby-esque. And it's interesting seeing Ken Stacy working in black and white. Oh, this is John Constantine's superhero version, Hellblazer, so he always has that cigarette. Just like the one, who just wears the trench coat. Who is this guy? I gotta look it up. Oh, Phantom Stranger. Okay, he's that world's Phantom Stranger, or this cockeyed world. Okay, there. And here comes Dr. 13, the Multiple Man, and the ever-loved Mr. E, the malleable medium. What's up with you guys? So Morrison exaggerates the British accent. He goes, "Stroke a light. Why don't you blokes quit flapping your jaws and have a deco here?" It's just really fun. Really nice. He really captures the Kirby. His stuff was always kind of boxy from the beginning, Ken Stacy. So there's Robot Man, but he's called Automaton. And he is a traitor. And he's like, "They cannot guess that I have transferred my own brain into Automaton's mighty body. Last issue, oh, forgetful one, Tom. This is not Cliff Steele, but Norman Caesar, the neglected scientist who has lived too long in the initials of Niles Calder, the chief, too long in the initials. Genius." And there goes Elasto Woman, wearing a much more practical costume than the real Elastigirl, because Elastigirl has short skirt and climbing over everybody. Everybody would get a look, and I just don't think a gal would do that sort of thing. Well, that little I always thought that was kind of weird. It's like, don't look up, fellas. And here in the lazy boy chair is the whatever his name is, Calder. Yeah, Calder. That is not a Kirby swipe. That's a Lichtenstein swipe. He did the one about he stole it from Magneto, and this guy was stealing it back. I gotta check this out sometime. This looks sensational. Written and drawn by Ed Hannigan. And the thing is, there were so many books out at the time that, I just it was also square bound, so, it was a finance situation. So much good stuff. There was a lot of shit that came out too, but I am Celestius, and I will be free. We'll see how certain you are, Negative Man, when I squash you like a bug. We'll see. Really, really nice tapers there. Got a little bit of that Gaijin Studios thing going on. And this little girl's like, "I lost my mommy. I'm scared." So this bad guy who is pretending to be Cliff, what's his name? "The child trusts me as though I were Automaton himself, and yet she cannot see my body. She trusts me for simply who I am. Why do I feel so strange?" And what I like too is when she talks, it's in big letters. And that, I've never thought of it. That's like a great idea. So whatever his name is, the Galactus Takeoff, step aside, Tin Man. He'd do what? Oh, he goes, "What can I do? What would Automaton do? He'd do what any man can do. Forget it, ugly. Here's heavy metal for you." Doot. And they get to fighting even more. Man, that's beautiful. And the little girl's like, "Stay away. I ain't done yet." Bam. There's so much Kirby awash in this book. It's beautiful. Yeah, see, Automaton's getting broke it up a bit. The girl can see now. I don't know, just because it's a dramatic moment. And what happened was, wait, I can see it again. That wasn't Cliff. The real Cliff's here in this jar. His brain was transferred way back when. Perhaps we'll never know, Larry. But some foe seeking revenge, some tormented soul trying to redeem himself. So what this is this man, this monster from Fantastic Four, number 51, and I think it's a beautiful tribute. It's really, really cool, and check it out. Now, Judo Master, who became part of the Marvel Universe or DC Universe when all the Charlton characters got bought by DC, probably for pennies on the dollar, because they had ceased publication by. They had lesser and lesser comics, and they squeaked all the way to 1985. So I'm sure DC got them dirt cheap. Now the modern comics, this is Charlton had books in the mid to late 60s with superheroes, and they didn't last long. This says number 96, but the fact of the matter is, it only lasted. It was like only 9 issues total, and what they did is they took over a title. It was like a military, like not our fighting forces, but some other one. And Judo Master was created by Frank McLaughlin, who would go on to be a really good inker. He inked a lot of great Captain America issues during when the Falcon was around and when the Cap of the 50s came along. So this says 1978, but then underneath it says 1967. So, and Frank's his stuff isn't. It's good storytelling. It's just fun. Fun. Well, the way this came about was Charlton started in the early 50s or late 40s, and because up in Derby, Connecticut, it wasn't even a comic book place, it was a printing place. And what they did is they did printing for cereal boxes. And I've worked in printing in the past, and printing goes on 24/7. I mean, because to stop a printing press and just close it down and then reset it up again takes a long time. Like, we're talking hours. So you have to keep the printing presses going nonstop. And so somebody came up with the idea, hey, let's do some comics. And it wasn't the original guy who started the public publishing, started making the cereal boxes. It was his son who took over. I guess the father passed on. I don't recall quite now. That's not germane to the situation. And what happened was the boss and Frank McLaughlin, they both took judo. I mean, they just kind of started off doing it, and they really enjoyed it. And then, Frank McLaughlin talked about to do a Judo Master, and he liked it. But like a lot of the action heroes, Captain Atom lasted, Blue Beetle lasted pretty well. I don't think the Question did, because he came late on, and that was Sarge Steele, written by Steve Skeets, art by Dick Giordano, legendary artist and legendary editor-in-chief of DC Comics, lettering A Machine. That's like an ongoing joke with their books. That's usually how funny they get. But, and Dick, just incredible. I had a chance to meet him once or twice, and he just, very humble guy, very nice guy. Just wants you to buy stuff. Well, there you go, Judo Master. And again, at Modern Comics, they tried to revive Charlton, and it just wasn't happening. I don't even know why they had the nom de plume of Judo Master. Captain America. This is about 1970, and Marie Severin and Joe Sinnott. Marie, just as I've mentioned previously, she did so many covers when Kirby left. She was like the cover, not in like official title, just she was. How about this now? How about this? Marriage of two great artists, Gene Colan, Wally Wood. And it's the only time my Marvel knowledge is pretty extensive, and I don't think they ever worked on anything else before. And, man, the results are just breathtaking. I mean, you got great acres like Tom Palmer and others, but this is just a whole different animal. It's like if Wally Wood touches a page, it's going to be great. Kind of like in decades later, Kevin Nolan would be that way, where he could ink the worst artist and make it beautiful with rendering and shadows, hair. And one thing Wally Wood always did is he would always do the upper bow of the lip, even if the figure was really small. And that's not easy to do without looking screwy. AIM. AIM. See, we got some Wally Wood lighting here. We got stuff that would be kind of like the stuff he did in Thunder Agents and other stuff he did, some war comics. That's just lovely. The story isn't terribly original, but you got Cap feeling sorry for himself, and he's sad about Sharon. He must have spun the wheel of self-pity. It was either a man out of time, I miss Sharon, and I miss Bucky. And so he must have landed on Sharon, so to speak. Look at that. If I told you that was Gene Colan, you would tell me to put this book down, leave, fly up to Pittsburgh, and jump off the 6th Street Bridge. Now, we get some snow going here, and what's another trick of Wally Wood is the snow is also in the shadows of the figures. Wonderful stuff. And there's, I think that's Robbie Robertson. Yeah, Robbie. J. Jonah Jameson's right-hand man. Again, the snow in the black areas. I think I'll cover myself a little bit with my shield. Love that. And this was when, comic sales were stagnating because 15 cents. I mentioned this before. People who bought 12-cent comics dropped it when it was 15 because you added, you added, what was it? You added like an extra fifth to the cost of the book. And reprints would stick this under here. And it gives you the illusion that you're getting more pages. There's 12. There's 13. Yeah, please. Give me a break. But you know what? The comic's so fun. I don't care. Oh, and there's Sharon in the background striking a Wally Wood pose. Maybe it was Gene, but it looks kind of like Wally might have played around with it a little bit. So they're fighting. She's like, I've got to stop him. Conventional girlfriend crying of the time. And this is it. Classic Gene Colan, and he's admitted to this. He will start the first few pages of any comic with huge panels, but then by the last 2 pages, he's like, oh, I got to wrap this story up. So that's why you see so many panels. And Cap feels betrayed because Sharon was there just watching him. It's over, darling, and you're safe. Yes, safe. I've always been able to be on guard against my enemies. But how does one protect himself from his friends? Satan's angels. That's a good story, too. Because Cap's on a bike. He's fighting a bunch of bikers. And pretty cool. So, I hope you enjoyed this. And talk to you later. Bye.